Well, Alison, thank you so much for being here with me on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you because, yet again, we're going to talk about amazing things. You and I already have had an amazing conversation. But before we dive in, why don't I hand over to you so you can just basically tell the audience who you are and what it is that you do?
Yes. So my name is Alison Matthews. I'm the founder of Virtually Admin Solutions, which I set up in 2015. So ten years just in June past. And I live in Strangford on the sunny east coast of Northern Ireland. But I help clients virtually all around the world. And I help to do that by taking the admin pain out of online and in-person event creation and also helping to build and implement time-saving tools. So yeah, and I started because I'm one of those sad, nerdy people. I love admin, I love systems. I find it quite easy to be organized, and I know that's not always the same for other business owners, and each of us have our strength, and that's why we open our businesses, obviously. And admin sometimes and the structures and the systems aren't everybody's natural forte.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is why I wanted to have that conversation with you because you specifically work with people to enhance their visibility through events, whether online or in person, and online courses. And I think that made a lot of people now listening to this, their ears pricking up and go, oh, this is going to be
Yeah.
interesting. But
Mhm.
before we dive into that, tell me a little bit about you starting your business 10 years ago. What made you decide to create Virtual Alley?
Yeah. It was weird. I was in actually in a large corporate business in Luxembourg, and I'd been there for 10 years. And I suppose it was that sort of breaking point that you all get to, everybody gets to in their job. They go, well, do I want to stay here? Do I actually want to stay here? And because I was in Luxembourg and it was far from home in Ireland, I also thought, well, is it time to leave Luxembourg too? And when I was researching what to do, because I had, applied for different admin type jobs, I couldn't see anything very challenging and nothing that was creative enough.
Yeah.
And then I happened to see a lady in England who'd been a virtual assistant for a long time, and she actually had a course, an in-person course for a few days in London called PA to VA, so personal assistant to virtual assistant. I thought, oh, that's very interesting. And this was back in 2014, 2014. And I went along to that. And then I started as an associate to her and just built up the business from there.
That's incredible. And I'm sure that so many people are also listening to this going, I want to be a virtual assistant because I think that's also the other thing. There are so many virtual assistants out there, or people are thinking about utilizing their skills
Mhm.
as a virtual assistant, but it freaks them out because either they don't know how to start their business in
Yes.
that kind of sense, or also they're feeling like, okay, I'm doing this, but I don't know where I'm going because
Yeah.
when it comes to being a virtual assistant, I think there's this general scope that people just helping you with some admin. And yes, that is correct in some sense, but you can also niche a little bit down into something more
Yes.
specific.
Totally. And I think too that people forget like that a lot of us, like I had 15 years experience working worldwide, in different administrative and project. I was a project coordinator for the building of a new building. I was a travel advisor. I worked in the export department as an export sales administrator. And I think a lot of people who start out virtual assistant, we have a very varied background that is priceless, really, that is priceless. And the fact that we have been in very, varied roles and help people in different situations is a real benefit. But yes, as you say, I think a lot of us start very general admin, as I did myself, because I just didn't know where it was going to go. And then I found myself helping to organize lots of events, which ironically I'd always been doing because
Mm.
even when I was working in Luxembourg, we had a big relay for life that the Cancer Foundation in Luxembourg organized. And I was one of the people in work who then said, well, shall we have a team? Shall we, as a work, have a team? And there was a committee, and I am one of those people who end up a lot on committees organizing things. So yeah, so the event sort of side of my business and out of that being visible sort of grew from that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is the beauty of it because everybody of us has got different skill sets and
Mhm.
strengths. Once you know what they are, you start niching down automatically, even.
Yeah, yeah.
And you kind of utilize that. But let's put on the other hat a little bit and talk about how you help businesses
Hmm.
in order to enhance their own visibility. And you do this specifically through through events, whether online or
Yes,
in person, and also online courses, which I know is a big
yes,
thing for a lot of people these days. There's a lot of
yeah.
conversations going on about this. But from your perspective, why do you feel that is so important for people to showcase their authority? And why would events and online courses in particular be something that people need to tap into?
Yeah, because I think it's a brilliant way to really put your personality across. And the fact, like we can show so much personality online now, and especially since COVID, we all had to get comfortable with Zoom and doing, having that online presence that we didn't before. So that's made it easier for us in a way. But the fact that you're online and you're chatting, people really get a sense of your personality, and then they know if they like you or don't, and if they like you, they go, well, I might be interested in working with this person, and if they don't, they don't, and that's okay too. That's okay too. So yes, it's about, building the know, like, and trust factor, which I think is an event and an online course. And even with online courses, you can have events to promote your online course. It's a
Yeah.
whole sort of virtuous circle.
Yeah, yeah. And from your experience, do you find that people gravitate towards online events or in-person events a
Mm.
lot more since COVID? Or do you feel that people are still a little bit shy of hosting them?
Mm, I think people are still a bit shy about hosting them, but funny, I was on Zoom, had their own virtual summit about virtual events the week before last, and they showed the statistics of people doing hosting virtual events, and it's enormous still. When we kind
Yeah.
of think, oh, people were doing that only in COVID, but they're not, they're still doing it. And this year in Northern Ireland, funny, I find that there's a lot more in-person events,
Mm.
and this year in particular, people want to go out because there is that special extra when you're at an in-person event, and it's all those in-between conversations, I call them, the conversations you have waiting in the queue to register, or eating your lunch, or in the bathroom, that you have with people that you can, yes, you can have a breakout room obviously on a Zoom, but it's just not quite the same.
Yeah, yeah. One of the other things I've noticed as well is when people do have these events, um, I think what I appreciate about it is not just the fact that you get to meet other people if you
Hmm.
are participating, but it's also you get to sometimes see that even though there's a host hosting the event, they normally have people bringing in other expertise.
Yes.
And I think it's a great way to kind of not just showcasing you as the host for
Hmm.
creating this platform, but to share those expertise from your side and the other people who's hosting
Yes.
alongside you. From your experience, what do you think that benefit is of creating something like this by bringing other experts in as well?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. Funny, I was at Atomicon a few weeks ago in Newcastle upon Tyne, and they had three stages with speakers. I think there probably was up to about 20 speakers
Yeah.
throughout the day. And the beauty of that is there's a little bit of something for everybody
Mm.
in the audience. And you can actually, they recorded that online. It was a hybrid event. So you could go back and catch the things that you didn't see as well. But when you have all the different experts like that, not only are you creating lots of really valuable um, learning for the audience, but you're also creating that sort of a scenario where those speakers might have a similar audience, and they're actually showcasing the event for you, which is
Yeah.
very powerful. And I think that's something very important to think about when you're actually choosing your speakers as well, how big their audience is and how much they'll promote the event for you.
Yeah. Yeah. But equally, I think, if we're talking about big events here, but for somebody who's just, you know, two,
Oh,
3 years
yeah,
down the line in their
yeah,
business, they're obviously like, whoa, that's way
yeah.
far out. I
Oh,
could never
yes,
do
yeah,
something
that's what,
like
yeah.
that. So maybe for them, something like a workshop, an online
Hmm.
workshop where
Hmm.
they are the speaker and they're presenting their brilliance,
Yes.
that might be a first step for them. But
Oh, totally.
is there a couple of things you can share maybe as to just help them get a little bit out of their comfort zone and say, just at least try it out, see how you feel?
Yes. Yes, and funny, I did this myself for the first time last year because, I'm always talking about people setting up events, and I've done different things online and, delivered many courses and things online. But last year in the summer, I decided I was going to host my own in-person event about how to run an event. And the tip that I would give to people is just go for it.
Yeah,
Just go for it. And I booked somewhere. Yeah, and I do have lots of blogs and on my website with, how to choose your venue and how to choose the date and all types of tips like that. But I think, there is a process to go through to make it easier for yourself about how to choose the venue and where that should be. And definitely maybe to start with a half day. To start
yeah,
with a half day and see how you get on. And actually, I thought even for myself, oh, half day is a lot. But, that'll really take a lot of me. And it went so quickly. It went so quickly. And I thought, no, that's okay. I could have had a half day, had lunch, did a bit more.
yeah,
So I think, yes, definitely start like that. And I have done events in the past as well with other virtual assistants who, as you said, we all had a different niche. And we actually had an event for small business owners where we said, here's a bit how we can help with social media, here's how we can help with events, here's how we can help with your podcast editing things back in the day. And so that each of us spoke, and then that took the pressure off because
yeah.
each of us had a wee bit to say, and we were there as a backup for each other.
Yeah. And see, I think that is so powerful because a lot of the events that are created, we sometimes see it and think, oh my gosh, it looks amazing, it's
Hmm.
perfect. And then if we think that we want to create events, and I'm referring to myself as well, because I've been there myself, you almost kind of go like, oh, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome and everything kicks
Oh,
in. And you
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
I could never do something as incredible as they've done it. But I think the perspective here is to think start small. And then the
Yes.
more you kind of get used to the rhythm and what you need to do, the more you can scale it up.
Yes, totally. And even to look out for opportunities, and I have that in a free resource that I know you're going to mention for the show notes too. But even if you look out for podcast opportunities like this, or if someone is organizing a panel and you don't want to maybe be up on a stage speaking, but you think, okay, well, I'm comfortable enough being on a panel, being asked questions, that you look up out for opportunities like that, and that kind of helps ease you in. And then who
Yeah,
knows, by the end of it, you could be running your own podcast. Who knows?
I know. I know. But also, I think this is where, and I know that you're talking about the overcoming the things that hold us back in particular in order to create events like this.
Hmm.
But this is where you can come in and kind of
Hmm.
help us as well, because there's so many different elements that needs to be pulled together, needs to
Yes.
be thought of in order to arrange an event like this. So if somebody were to have a conversation with you, or at least have you on board, who knows what it is that you need to plug into this kind of a
Hmm.
project, this workshop, or this in-person event, whatever that might be, it just takes a little bit of the pressure off you as well, knowing that, oh, somebody is taking care of those things and know what needs to happen. I can
Yeah.
go and promote it, but everything in the back end is running smoothly, basically.
Yes, yes. And as you said, there are so many moving parts. And I think it was funny because someone joked with me the other day, oh, I wanted to organize an event. I had no idea how much work it was going to be. And I was like, yes, because it is. It is. And it's about pulling all those elements together.
Yeah,
And that is where that's my forte, that I can see all those things and sort of pull it all together to make it into something. And I've helped a few clients this year who were organising events outside of their own work, really, who were on different voluntary committees and things, and who just did not have the bandwidth to be thinking of every
yeah,
single thing. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but with events like so much of the success is in the 95% planning you do before.
yeah.
Because you cannot bluff it. You can bluff a little bit, but not enough to wing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also that's the other thing, because you would like to have a team on board, especially if you run in-person
Mhm.
events, because I think they take out the most energy, especially if you're the host. You need to
Yes.
show up that day. You need to have the energy. You need to be
Yeah.
the host that day. And
Yeah.
if you are mitigating all of these moving parts on the day, you'd be exhausted. You'd be pulled
Yeah.
left, right, and center during the day without realizing how much that is taking out of you. So I always say, if
Hmm.
you do an in-person event, at least get somebody on board like yourself who can kind of help you and
Yeah.
assist you on the day, because there's a lot to think of and that people don't always
There is.
realize that.
There is, yeah, there is.
Let's talk a little bit about online courses, because obviously we mentioned that in the beginning. From your understanding, why do you feel online courses are so valuable for people to tap into for business owners?
Yeah, I think there's several reasons. I think it's that thing, and I know it's said a lot, but to have that sort of the evergreen content that is sitting there that you can direct people towards, and that is super important. And I've seen that with so many of my own clients. Well, in situations like the pandemic, for example,
Yeah.
where you just from one day to the next, we were told we were so restricted in what we could do face to face, and that had a massive impact on a lot of people that I knew. And one of my clients in particular, who was running dog training classes every night of the week and then couldn't do anything, and I helped him build out different, puppy, adolescent, golden oldie online courses. But I think yeah, there's that. There's the sort of the what would we call it? The backup that no matter what happens in the world, there is that course, and you can direct people to that course. Whether it be something global like that, or
Mhm.
you're not well, and you don't have the energy to be delivering things face to face, and you can say to people, here this is. And obviously it's a great way as well. It's a great tool to cross-sell other services in your business. So you can have the online course that people can do in their own time, but then have a VIP upsell that you say, well, do you want some accountability? Do you want to meet in person, online, whatever it happens to be, and have that little bit extra. So it's a brilliant way, and a brilliant way just to put all the information that you have in your head in one
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
For even with me with the events thing, I was thinking the day, should I actually have, because I don't have an online course about how to create an event, but I should have.
But this is also where that other additional income stream comes in
Yes,
place,
yes. Oh,
because
totally.
let's just say you decide that you want to do an in-person event,
Hmm.
but oh gosh, it's somewhere in Ireland, as an
Yes,
example.
yeah.
Not everybody's going to travel to Ireland to
Yeah,
get it, but they want
exactly.
the information. So an online course could be an alternative to say, I know you can't make it to the in-person event, but there's an
Exactly.
online course which would give similar information.
Yes, yeah. And it opened you up when you, in that way as well. Obviously, you're opening up your whole audience to globally, and people can do an online course whenever, wherever they are. I can be here and they can be in a beach in, I don't know, Sri Lanka. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of it as well, that, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, that people can access your expertise wherever they are.
Yeah. But then also talking about online courses, I'm sure people are listening in the audience are going, yeah, I want to create one so badly, but I'm freaked out by all the tech. How do
Yeah.
you help people then who's possibly listening to this? How do
Hmm.
you help them get that online course up and running, basically? What is your part in
Yes.
it?
Well, I would sort of sit down and have a discovery type call with people at the very start just to see what stage they're at, and even if, have they researched what platform to put it on? Because I think that's the biggest stumbling block for people. They don't
Yeah.
know where to put it. And there's so many choices now. And once we sort of get past that part, it's then thinking of breaking the whole project down, because it is a project, and events to me are projects as well. And that's what I like. But that you have, the project, and then you break it down into manageable bits of, okay, this is how many modules we're going to have, this is how long the videos are going to be, this is how many videos we might need, do we need a workbook? And I work with someone else who's a sort of really loves graphics, and she'll create the PDF workbooks and beautiful presentations and slide decks and all those kind of things. You don't have to worry about that, and some promotional images. So it's about breaking it down into, there are so many parts, in the same way
Yeah.
an event is, there are so many things to do. And then I help, because the tech overwhelm also can be a big thing, that people don't know how to integrate their
Mm.
PayPal or the Stripe in the background, or they have an email marketing platform. They don't know how to connect that, and they don't know how to set up, that first email that pops up and says, welcome.
Yeah.
I know how to do these things now, because I've worked with many different platforms in the background, and it's just, yeah, it's been another sort of a virtual set of, another virtual set of hands and brain power, really.
I know, but I think also what you offer is not just helping them setting everything in place, but it's also that accountability. So you bring a part of
Yes.
that kind of that accountability in, whereby you help people and assist them. Meaning
Yeah.
now they go like, "Oh, I know how to do it. Alison
Yeah.
taught me how to do it. And I know I've got to
Yeah.
get this to Alison because we've got to upload it in order to send
Yes.
out that automated email or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like not just about knowing that you have somebody on board who knows the tech stuff, know what it is that needs to be done, but it's also that accountability, which I think is a big thing for a lot of people when they come to creating online courses.
Oh, it is totally. And I have a course creators academy that I run certain times of the year, and we actually have a co-working hour in that. So that's for people who are working on their own course, even that I'm not helping them A to Z with, and that they have the accountability then to say every week, this is what I'm doing. And I'm actually running a co-working summer hour, a summer accountability hour in this summer that I had the first one actually earlier on for people working on different things in their business for the
Yeah.
same reason, just to have
Yeah.
that extra nudge.
We all need it. We all
We
need it
all
because
need
we
it.
all
I
know
need
we're
it
our
too.
worst
Yeah.
enemies. We're our
Yeah,
worst
yeah,
enemies. We always say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And when that time
yeah,
comes, you go like, oh, I'll just push it to tomorrow. And then tomorrow
yeah,
becomes a week later and a month later. And then you're never going to see it through
yeah,
anyway. So we all need
exactly.
that accountability, which is why I love having this conversation with you because it's not just about virtual assistant with basic admin task. It's more project focused,
Hmm.
event based, course based, which is a
Hmm.
project in itself. Let's face it, a big
Yes,
one.
yeah.
But it is so easy doable if you have
Hmm.
somebody like yourself on board who can just assist, give that clarity, give that structure, but also a little bit of that accountability, which we all need.
Yeah, and I think too now with AI as well, like really there has never been an easier time to make an online course, really, with the amount of AI tools that we have there to help us. Um, and I was thinking the other day because I started the business 10 years ago, a lot of people didn't understand what a virtual assistant was and could not get their head
Mm,
around that I was not physically in an office and that I was just, working remotely and we were sharing documents online through Google Drive or Microsoft, whatever it happened to be, Dropbox, whatever it happened to be. And and the world has moved on so fast, even from that time,
I
you
know,
know.
I know. I
And we'll
mean,
probably, yeah,
think about the days before Zoom. We used to use
yeah,
Skype, and even
yeah,
then,
Skype,
Skype was like amazing. And then, of
yes,
course, we had
yes,
WhatsApp coming in. So,
yeah,
that's a way of contacting and having
yeah,
conversations online. So, technology will always evolve and always
yeah,
grow. AI will still evolve and grow, but it is
yes,
amazing tools to use if you embrace it.
yeah,
And I think the other aspect is also not to get overwhelmed, not to feel like
yes,
you've got to do it all. And you
yeah.
don't
Oh no,
have to
totally.
know it all.
No, no. And like last week, I was testing out like three tools, new sort of tools for my business, and I thought, well. Like those three tools are, and not, like I'll share a blog about those three because as long as you have a few that you're using, that help you with the core parts of your business, I think that's enough. That's
Yeah,
enough to have.
exactly. Exactly. You don't have to have everything in one place all the time. I
No.
think, it's overwhelming for you, but it's also creating a little bit more of a disturbance than anything. So
Yes.
just have the core
Yeah.
things, like you say.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I've got so many more questions to ask, but I
Hmm.
think with where the audience are at, and I think, I want to leave them with those thoughts of what we've spoken
Hmm.
about, because not just I find that having online events, which I'm a big fan of, I do them all the
Hmm.
time, but either online or in person events, or at least scoping your interest around courses, really helps enhance your visibility.
Hmm.
You get to share your brilliance, like you said,
Hmm.
but also you get to be seen as the expert within a specific
Yeah.
field. And I think that is what is standing out, but also it showcases who you are as a person. You build that relationship. And I find that's a big thing for me. But then before you know it, it becomes viral.
Yeah.
So I have so many times on my personal, for my personal benefit, I know that I run workshops all the time online. So much so that people keep on asking me, well, when's your next one? When's your next one?
Yes.
And that's the kind of rhythm that you want to create, and understand that if you have some kind of project like that in place, it is very beneficial for you as a business.
Oh, totally.
But you
Totally.
don't,
And
yeah,
sorry.
sorry, go on.
No, funny. I was going to, because I was listening to one of your podcast guests, Susie Seddon, that was on,
Yes.
and she had an online workshop coming up now in July that I knew I couldn't go to, and so I contacted her and said, "Well, I know I can't go to this, but when is your next one?" So that is the beauty of it,
That's
as you
it.
just said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. But I think that's the beauty of it, because this comes back down to what we said earlier. You've got a workshop coming up. Not everybody
Hmm.
can get there, but do you have
Yeah.
something as a backup that you can offer those
Yes.
people who can't make it, in person or whatever that might be? So it's always good to have those two tangible elements in order to satisfy the requirements of people, which I
Yes,
find always
exactly.
fantastic.
Exactly.
But Alison, you've got a free resource available for everybody, because I'm sure we've spoken about a few things here and people are like, oh my gosh, I want to do this, I
Yes.
want to do this. But at the same time, they're freaking out because they know it will take some work. But
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about this free resource and how it's going to help them.
Yes, so I have a free resource about a free guide to building your authority and income through events and online courses. And I wanted to create that. The visibility and the communication part of that has become something in my business that I didn't reckon was going to become a thing, but has. And I think a lot of that, and so the resource is to go through different tips of, how can you actually host, what tools can you use to host an online event? What sort of things should you be thinking about? And the different ways that you can turn up and be visible, like a podcast like this, and there are other different examples as well. So that's a free resource that you'll be able to find on the freebies section of my website, www.virtualally.uk.
Perfect. And what I'll do is I'll make sure to put that link in the show notes as well. So for everybody who's thinking about, finally, you want to get that online course done, you want to look at online events, in-person events, whatever that is, go and have a look, download the resource. And I'm sure there's quite a few things there that Alison has shared that you might not have even thought about.
Yeah.
And then if it's really something that you want to do, I honestly suggest that you get in contact with Alison, you have a conversation with Alison, because you'll be so surprised that actually just having somebody on board who can assist you or at least showcase things that you might not have thought about with regards to your business, it is just a weight off your shoulders having somebody like Alison on your team, which is why I wanted to have this conversation with her, because it's not just about general admin when it comes to virtual assistants. You can either also get somebody who can help you with the projects. And I
Yes.
think this is what is really powerful with what Alison is sharing here, but also understanding how those kind of events, online courses can be beneficial for you. And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting in this audience and go, yep, I've been thinking about this for so long. Now's the time to do it. So if you want to get in
Yes.
touch with Alison, the details are in my show notes, her website, her social media details. Get in touch with her, connect with her. But most importantly, at least start by downloading that resource, because I'm sure it's going to already open up your mind to a few ideas that you might not have thought about before. So,
Right.
Alison, thank you so much. I felt that this
Thank you
was
so much.
so beautifully wrapped up today. Like, we got to the point, quick and
We
easy.
did. We did. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be in touch again soon.
Brilliant.